Good afternoon and welcome to BalaCore Fitness Show here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I'm Ellen Como. I welcome you to the show today, and I have my guest here, George Cummings. Hello, George.
Hello, I know. How's it going?
It's going great. You know, we always talk about women's fitness all the time. That's what I talk about week after week after week.
We're not going to talk about that now?
No, you know, and I always, I don't have enough men on my show, so...
And it just so happened I was walking by, and here we are.
And here we are. Here you are today. So we're going to talk about fitness and men's fitness, some of the things that men go through. You know, we talk of women have their I want to say not issues, but they have the things that go on with fitness with them and things that they deal with, and they're busy because of children, or they have a lot of hormone issues. Or for women, I find the difference between men and women, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, women are a lot more emotional eaters. Like they eat if they're having a good day, a bad day, a sad day, a mad day, a tired day. And I notice men pretty much eat when they are hungry.
It could be. I think that's it. I mean, sometimes, like for me, if I'm really, really busy or if it's stressing, I might not pay so much attention to what I'm eating or have the craving. You know, we're going to go to the local fast food place because I just need all that salt and sugar and everything else. But I think you're probably right about that. I'm hungry, especially me, because I'm a really picky eater, which is part of the thing. I'm probably not going to live as long a life as everybody else because I really don't like vegetables. But I think you're right about that as far as it goes. Because, I mean, except for the occasional, like, man, I really feel like having an ice cream cone or something right now. But it's more like the little kid inside of me that wants the little sugary treat, you know. And I try to, especially at my age now, try to keep that under a little bit of control. But maybe Mrs. Cummings could be. I don't want to say she's an emotional eater, but sometimes she likes the sweets. So it ends up, you know, the whole, okay, well, I'll have one too, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, and women, like, they'll just be having a really bad day. And you'll either hear them say, you know, I'm going to have a glass of wine, or I'm going to go have a drink, or I'm going to go eat.
Go straight for the cookie dough.
Yeah, so the cookie dough. Like you see that on TV all the time when the girl gets her heart broken and she's sitting there with her girlfriend, you know, on the sofa with the big spoon. And
the ice cream. Exactly.
Yes, and you never really see guys doing that in shows. I've seen it in a couple, but usually you see a guy, you walk in his house after his heart is broken, and the whole house is just trashed, and there's pizza boxes and stuff all over the place. Yeah.
But I think that we're I mean, unless you're really involved in like focusing on fitness, and I would say this as I get older, there's some things that I've cut out. I mean, I cut out alcohol some years ago. I still have caffeine, but like carbonated beverages and sodas and things like that, because it's just not good for you anyway. But it's always that, you know, as our former station manager used to say, there's nothing good about sodas except its sweet, sweet taste. But, you know, I still can, as I move forward, should consider other things, because I still have, like, you know, sandwich at lunch, real easy. I even eat breakfast cereal at lunch because it's just all I have to do is pour it in there and pour milk, you know? And so there are things like from that standpoint, it's like I just need to get it done. My stomach and my brain need something so I can keep working is usually how I go.
Yeah, so you just kind of grab whatever's convenient.
Usually, unless I'm really, really thinking about it. And then also, like I said, I have such a narrow bandwidth of what I like to eat. So I can never be a vegetarian because I just don't have enough vegetables that I like.
You know, now, do you notice when you eat vegetables you don't feel well? Is that why you don't like them?
You know, it's a weird thing. I think it comes down to there's something about, and people think, oh, you're still being a 5-year-old or whatever, you know, stomping my foot. But there is something about a lot of them with the texture and the smell and the taste, and it totally puts me off. There's some things I can tolerate, green beans and like a salad, you know, something, but not too many weird things in there, you know. So, you know, let's get some lettuce and tomatoes and maybe some onions and things like that. But that's about as far as I go.
So lettuce, tomatoes, onions, green beans.
Green beans. I used to like I know, and these are horrible, those baby peas with all the gooey butter on them. You know?
Okay.
They don't make them anymore. See, that's the thing. George likes it, so we're just going to kick it off, which is probably better for me anyway. But I have a bad habit of, you know, just dismissing the green vegetables in the meal. You know, forget about it. If it's not available, you know, potato's a vegetable, comes out of the ground, right? You know, that's a lot of starch.
Now, have you tried vegetables different ways? Like, have you tried asparagus roasted?
Yeah, believe me, any which way. That's what I say. You would love my Brussels sprouts. I really just don't. It's not even. It could be raw in the way they smell. It just doesn't. I've tried every way. It's just a thing. So on that note, I work around that. You know, I know fruit contains natural sugar and stuff like that. But there's other things I do to try and make up for that, at least in some way. I do eat a lot of fruit during the day.
Yeah,
I will say that.
Fruit's really good for you.
Yeah. So.
And what about, so do you do maybe, and have you ever tried juicing?
Not to the degree that a lot of people do it. I know that one of the things I read about juicing, tell me if this is true or not, is that it doesn't really contain a lot of fiber. Am I right? Do you kind of juice the fiber out of the
It
fruit when you do
depends
that?
what kind of a juice that you're doing. If you're doing like the bullet, where it's actually that you're getting everything in there, you're getting, you're getting the peel, you're getting the inside, the seeds, you're getting all of that together, then you're getting all the nutrients of the actual vegetable itself.
Does
because
chocolate
you're
milk a
getting all
juice?
of
I
it.
just need to.
No,
okay.
it's a protein actually.
Okay, that's good to know. So that's one thing, and for the most part, Mrs. Cummings really does try to at least adjust somehow accordingly. But I've always been, when I've gone and done physicals and things like that, from the time I was young until my most recent one, which I need to have one this year, but it's always been, you're in really good health. As a matter of fact, my cholesterol is a little too low. They suggested I take fish oil. So it's never been an issue where I have to think too hard about that. But I know, again, at my age now, I need to probably start focusing on that.
And are you willing to share your age?
I will be 52 in July.
I love it. If you look around what 52 looks like today and what it looked like 20, 30 years ago, it doesn't even look the same. If think about, how people looked. We looked so, because we are aware and we have the education, people are preserving themselves so much longer. Like they said, the 50 is the new 30, and I truly believe that.
I think so, especially you look back like 40, 50 years ago and see what people who were 30, they did look 50.
They did look 50.
And I would say this is probably part of like the youth culture that's come up, and we all want to still feel young. We've had so many things in popular culture that keep us young. There's not a whole lot that separates us from young people in that way too, and so we still have that desire. And from my standpoint, exercise-wise, talking about fitness, I go through phases where, like a couple of years ago, I was running 5, 6, 7 miles, and I can do that. But then I either run out of time, or it's that situation. Oh, I can't do it today. Okay, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow's bad too. Oh, now it's raining. Okay, next week, I swear to God, I'm getting back in. And then that's usually what happens. I try to keep as active as possible, though, like in walking and things like that, because I live in Valencia, so there's a lot of places I can walk to. I'll walk to the bank. I'll walk to the post office. Walk to dinner, and things like that. I love walkability where I live, so that if nothing else, I at least get that in.
Walking is a source of exercise. So you're getting your exercise every day when you walk. And if you go to the other countries, if you're going to Europe and things, a lot of people don't have cars. They don't drive. They walk everywhere. It's the way that their cities are set up. And if you notice, they have less obesity, and they have they're healthier on a larger level than we are in this country, because we literally drive everywhere.
That's true.
We will drive 2 blocks to go down the street to a store. So it's, walking is extremely healthy. Walking it does prolong life. Walking also gives a better quality of life. So you're getting your exercise right there.
Okay.
You're getting a big portion of it. Yeah, you're getting a big portion of it.
The things that, and I mentioned earlier, Ellen, too, the things that I never really was a smoker. I did very, very, very briefly in my early 20s. I was in the Army, and I got to the point, what made me stop literally, because I have this habit of like doing this, where my hands are by my face, or I'll rest my hand on my chin and stuff, and I couldn't stand the way my fingers smelled. Yes. And I was like, oh, this is so disgusting. And it took a little while to quit, but I always did. And of course, both my parents were, as I say, trophies for the tobacco industry. So it's never been a situation for me to want to ever even do that. And then about 8 years ago, I decided to give up alcohol completely, not for any reason other than except the depressive aspects, especially when you're ready.
The depressive when you're done, like the next day.
Well, like it would kind of hit me, and it was like, wow, and I was like, why do I feel like this? And I realized there was a little bit of a correlation.
Absolutely.
It really truly is a depressant, and and alcoholism runs on both sides of my family. So I decided I don't want to, what would prevent me ultimately down the road from becoming any of my other family members. So it was a good idea to just stop, and I did, and I just kind of changed my mode of how I think and plan my day, and it's all good.
Yeah, and I think it affects people different ways. But the day next day after you wake up and you've had, even a couple of glasses of wine or whatever you're drinking, you wake up the next day and kind of go, you feel bad, and you don't even know why you feel bad.
Yeah,
you
and
just
it wasn't
feel bad.
like I would put on a rager or anything like that, and it would come and go. It was like roulette, and that was like, this is too much of a a roll of the dice I'm going to feel the next day. It's just not worth it. So there's a lot of those things that I put in place. But I think probably for me, I'm always intimidated talking to a fitness expert because I talk about diets, because I do like hamburgers. I don't eat them all the time. I like red meat. but I try to watch what we make. We
I
have
eat
stuff
red
in them.
meat.
I know you
Yeah,
always
I
talk about
am.
Bob's Country Meats.
I am a carnivore.
Okay.
I like meat. Meat is good, healthy protein. We need animal protein. Now, some people might disagree with me. I have my animal protein. The most important part to remember is the quality of the animal protein that you're eating.
That's true.
You want to know where it's coming from, and you want to make sure it's good quality. And I've heard there's been people worry about the financial aspect of eating better quality food. But if you eat better quality food, you notice that you're going to buy less food because you need less food. So if you look at it, it kind of balances itself out. And the only thing where I see somebody spending too much money on food is when they decide one day they're eating just kind of average, not very healthy nutrition, and they decide that tomorrow I'm going to get rid of everything in my house and I'm going to start over. And so they go through the pantries, they go through the refrigerator, they go through everything, they throw it all out. And then they walk into the market and they buy every vegetable and every fruit and chicken and this and that, and they buy it and they bring it home, and they really haven't planned for it. They haven't really educated themselves on even how to cook half this stuff. And they've spent a lot of money on that food, and a lot of it tends to go bad because they don't use it.
I was going to ask you about that. It's like, do you find that people end up falling back to their habits when they make such a radical change? Is it good is it good to go in phases?
Yes, it's so good to take it nice and slowly, because they will have all this food sitting in their home. They won't know what to do with it, and they'll literally stop at a restaurant and bring food in anyway because it's such a habit to them. So what I like to do with my members, my clients, anybody that I'm working with nutrition, is try to do a slow transition so it's not an overnight thing, where we kind of look at a few foods. Like, okay, I bring food in every night. Okay, so if you bring in food every night, let's look at the Target restaurants on the way home. Let's pick out 2 or 3 Target restaurants for you, or a couple markets where they have foods already made. Like Whole Foods has food. You can just go pick it up and bring it home. So there's places that you can stop too. So I like to look at Target. Here we go. We have this place, this place, this place that you like. Or you have these 4 or 5 on the way home that have healthy choices. And then they get about 3 or 4 healthy choices on each one of those restaurants on the way home. So now they have a plan in place. So let's say now let's go to breakfast. Breakfast is something normally most people eat at home or don't eat at all. And what I like to do is get them set up with just eating a breakfast at all. So that's kind of something that we start with. Pick out one breakfast that you like and eat that same breakfast every morning for the beginning. And why I do that is to start setting up habits with them. And once they get used to having that breakfast every day, and they'll come to me and say, I'm getting a little bored. Do you have another breakfast? Yes, I do. But now these patterns and these habits are already being placed, and they're already being used, and they're already becoming part of just everyday life for them. And then lunch is the one that we got to go back and forth with, because are you going to bring your lunch, or you're going to buy your lunch out? Now, if you're going to buy your lunch out, and this is another thing that they get a choice. Are you going to buy your lunch out, or are you going to buy your dinner out? You can't buy both. Which one? Where are you going to go? So it's always planned, and I sit down with them and we get a plan in place. So everything is kind of spelled out for them. They know what to do, and they can look at it. We've talked about it. We've discussed it. When I sit down with someone for nutrition, I have a nutrition list, but there's 4 or 5 blank papers. Mm-hmm. And why that is because everybody is so different.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not going to give 5 or 6 papers and hand them to you that are already typed up perfectly with what you're going to do, because we haven't talked yet. I don't know. And even if we've talked on the phone, there's things I need to know. I need to know more. So once we do that, then we get a plan, because the most important part about changing your nutrition and your exercise, but we're talking about nutrition right now, is to get a plan in place and have it, and have a doable plan. Don't have a plan that's a pie in the sky. This is what I wish for. I don't want to know what you wish for. I want to know what you realistically can do. And now let's start in those parameters and let's make it happen.
I'm going to run 9 miles tomorrow morning.
Yes, I know. And I'm going to say, okay, give me 9 minutes tomorrow morning, and we'll talk.
You're listening to the BalaCore Fitness Show with your host, Ellen Como, and I'm her guest, George Cummings.
Yes.
I'm just doing the refresher, bringing it back in. So anyway, so we used to do that. We usually have the 5-minute timer thing.
Oh, and I just look over there.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I think that's really important. So in that, we're talking about having kind of a gradual thing. And of course, when you talk about the blank pages, because different body types, different types of lifestyles, different types of health issues too, right?
Right. Different health issues. Sometimes, I don't know, is there, diabetic? Is there, do you have a lot of people, so many, it's just becoming, and I don't even know if it's an epidemic or if it's really going on, but the allergies to gluten is just beyond, it's out of control. And a lot of that has to do with the American gluten. It's our American wheat plants that are causing this. And now they're even saying it goes farther than that. It has nothing to do with the wheat. So that's interesting as well. So there's a lot of people struggling with that right now. So then how do we get your grain in and get, people, they love bread. I think, everyone loves a good piece of bread and butter, right? We all love that. And in a lot of cases now, people are they're eating the bread and the butter, and they're finding that they're bloated. They don't feel good. There's, they get headaches. There's dehydration. There's all these things that are coming from this. And so we have to take a look at that. Is it really coming from that piece of bread? Is there something else going on? Like, have you not eaten all day and that's the first thing you've eaten, and now you're wondering why you have a headache? Let's talk about that.
It's a huge amount of carbs, right?
Yeah. So have you, what else have you done today? So we have to look at the whole picture, almost like a detective, and kind of break everything down. And once we get it broken down, then it's very simple. It's very simplified about what you can with nutrition. It's not as complicated as everybody thinks. You want balanced meals, and you're very surprised. We've come a long way. It used to be, if you want to live healthy and you want to lose weight, you need to eat your protein, your grain, and your vegetable. Boom. So you have this awful looking just plain chicken breast and this little scoop of brown rice and some broccoli. And then that's what everybody would think that they have to live on.
It's like airline food.
Yeah. Even worse than that, because it has no flavor, right? There's nothing there. Yeah. And now we're finding you can be kind of a foodie and you can enjoy your food. And all these cooking shows and all these chefs and things that they're showing us because of the internet and because of the channels that are on TV have really shown us delicious food. And the chefs usually are, there's some chefs that are in shape. There's some chefs that aren't, just like in any other industry. But
Julia Child comes to mind.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. But what it's showing us is that we can take food and we can make it healthy and we can make it taste good as well.
Yeah, because you could still use spices, you could still use things like that. And instead of maybe butter, you use something else. Like I know we do a lot of cooking with either like olive oil or something like that, something a little bit different than what would be the traditional or whatever we use. I don't know if we use olive oil anymore. Whatever it is, it's what we've replaced using a lot of butter because that's so fatty.
Right. Well,
so there are things you can do.
Yeah, butter's not that bad for you.
Really?
Yeah, butter really isn't that bad.
Good, because I love butter.
Margarine, really bad for you.
Peace.
Butter is not bad, margarine bad. But you don't want to have too much of it too. And then it also depends on the quality of the butter. Is it organic butter? Where is it butter from? And you want to know that stuff.
Is it unsalted, et cetera, et cetera?
So much. Coconut oil is a great, I love cooking with coconut oil. One of the reasons I love cooking with it is I love the way it smells. It's like that aroma, especially when I'm roasting or I'm doing anything.
Is it like suntan lotion, or does it smell something different? Does it smell like coconut?
It smells like coconut.
Okay.
It smells so good.
Okay.
So you can use grapeseed oil is another great oil to use. And olive oils, if you're cooking, they don't recommend cooking at high temperatures with olive oils, but you can. Yeah,
learn that the hard way.
Yes, you can use coconut oil. You can use grapeseed oil for that. So there are oils that you can use. So knowing that stuff, you can flavor. And I love going to a place called We Olive down in Ventura on Main Street. They sell so many different flavors of olive oils and of balsamic vinegars. So you can start to flavor with these elements as well. And spices. Spices are so important for our health. And spices are they're detoxifying. They are anti-inflammatory. And so actually using real spice instead of, a lot of people love garlic. Garlic is good for you, but there's so many other choices out there that you can use. Cooking with lavender. I love cooking with lavender. The hardest part of cooking with lavender is finding lavender. It's really, really tough to find. Well, we're going to take a break here. We're going to be right back. This is Ellen Como, George Cummings on your hometown station, AM 1220, KHTS.